Part 2. Verdant Wind. Guardian Moon. The Alliance Leader's Ambitions. Claiming the monastery at Garreg Mach as its home base, the Alliance army joins forces with the Knights of Seiros. Together, they begin to take up arms against the Adrestian Empire.
Alright. I found out what actually was going on with the audio going as whack as it was. I guess it happened to be the way it exported. So for some reason when I forgot to fix this because when everything broke down I had to start from scratch again. I forgot to change it where it didn't export the video with my commentary.
Good work, Hilda.
So that's what happened.
You didn't do much manual labor, but you managed to rope the knights into helping us restore the monastery.
Thanks, Claude. But all I did was piggyback on your scheme. I saw your eyes telling me to make some magic happen.
Thank you so much for your help with the restoration.
Oh, please, it was nothing. We're just doing our part as former students.
I'm told you even routed the bandits. That job should have fallen to us. I'm sorry for the trouble.
Hey, don't think twice about it. We're all allies in the resistance against the Empire, right?
The Church is at war with the Empire, but let's be realistic. Wouldn't it be better for the Alliance to eventually submit?
The way I see it, the Emperor wants to take over all of Fodlan and destroy the existing order of the world. I can't see her allowing the Alliance to continue to exist. We're in this just as deeply as you are. Actually, we were hoping to use this place as a base. The Empire begs to be meddled with, and we're first in line.
What? Why would you want to make your base here of all places?
Garreg Mach is situated in the center of Fodlan, both geographically and spiritually. We want to secure this location while the Empire is still overlooking it.
I see. The Empire doesn't see this place as important at the moment because it's far from the front lines.
But if we simply decide that it's ours to occupy, that does nothing to inspire the hearts and minds of the people of Fodlan. Luckily, good old Teach has finally returned to us. If the Professor Rhea entrusted with the Sword of the Creator fights at our side, well now, that's a just cause anyone could get behind. What's more, here we are, working alongside the legendary Knights of Seiros. It smacks of divine providence, doesn't it? Can you feel it?
I have heard what you have to say, Claude. And you, Professor? Where do you stand?
These are kind of the same thing. It's like, I want to find her, but it's just...
We are at a relative standstill, but with the help of the Alliance. The Archbishop said if anything should happen to her, that we should entrust the affairs of the Church to you. If you intend to fight alongside the Alliance, then I will follow you as well. Is that acceptable, Claude?
Of course. I can't think of anything more reassuring than having both Teach and the Knights on our side. Together, we'll stop the Emperor and her reckless ambitions.
But anyway. Yeah, it was just a fault on the exporting part. So... should be fine from now on. I checked the... apparently it happened with even the most recent Golden Sun, which is the 12th episode of it that went up. At least for me, you guys 13 would have came out. Good grief. Goodness. But I checked it and it seems to be okay as far as the audio. It doesn't have any weird echoes in it, so I think we're good there. It seemed like we were good there, so I didn't worry about it.
I'm here. Thank you.
I don't know. I know there's a list of who likes what tea. I still just want to try to see if I can figure it out on my own. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I don't think it's that. I don't. Maybe library? Yeah. Okay. I was remembering Ash and her support conversation for that.
Yes, I agree.
There we go.
Speaking with you helps me realize I can't hesitate in life.
Not. Disagree? How is that? How is that something that? Oh.
Thank you for the treat.
You know what? Never mind. All right, game. Gee whiz. All right. Okay, he did master it. That's good. That's what I was curious about last time. Most of everybody is going to be kind of stuck where they're at. Like Cynthia's already in master class. Typical things. Alright, she's nowhere near getting that ability. I know she has special dance. I could technically give her a different class. I don't know if I want to do that. 48%. Sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. She got it. Oh my gosh. Her stats are gonna go way up. Or not. Never mind. Caspar, oh man, sorry buddy. Ow, get out of here. No, hold on. Oh my goodness, why? No, go away. Okay, apparently my allergies are attacking me real bad. I don't know how I'm gonna really go about with the rest of everyone else. But, oh. Looks very different in that. Okay. 47%. That is still not fantastic for that. Alright. He can actually achieve that, but the problem is, how far along is he on this? Oh, he's almost got it. Constance, how far are you on this? Why does her hair have springs basically on the end? It's just weird. I know it's curled, but it's just it looks weird. And Happy, you are currently a warlock. And she just changed to it, so she's going to be at it for a while. I could technically at some point make her a Dark Knight. I don't know if that would be a good idea, though. Stat-wise, she'd be better as a Dromary. But we'll worry about that later. Is someone seriously doing some weed eating outside? Good grief. Sounds like it. But yeah, I'm going to show off this little bit here because I don't remember how different it is now that it's changed to this point. Support levels. Lysithia's got that. Skill levels. I don't think Bylus really. I could make it go to a C+. That would be all of it. Reason. Riding, heavy armor. Yeah, pretty much all of it except Axis at max. I don't know. Yeah, she doesn't have really much of anything that she's changed into. Caspar's kind of in the same boat a little bit. Cyril? Nah, you're fine. That might be helpful to her to some extent. But that's if I use her. It'd be kind of pointless to spend the points on it and it not be of any use. Let's just kind of go through. How about this? She's back in her room.
At last, I return to my domain, my lonely paradise, my realm of exquisite solitude. Huh? Professor? Is that you? You didn't hear that just now, did you?
Hear what?
Right. You didn't? Well, good.
But yeah, like previously, you can do the advanced drills, which is always incredibly useful.
Right.
If you want to level up Bylus stuff.
I'm pretty headstrong, but Claude could give me a run for my money. I mean, he's dragged the Knights into this. You ought to be careful, Professor. Don't worry about me. I'm here because I want to be. Also, because being around my big brother feels like a real chore.
I can completely understand that.
Could you do me a favor?
There's that. Do I have this stuff for you?
Thanks
Yes.
so much. You're a sweetheart. I'm pretty headstrong.
I know it's been like 5 years, but let me harvest this. Yo, you only got that? Wow. I don't know if I should trust you with this anymore if you can only do that in 5 years. I've never understood that bit. It's like, wait, you had 5 years to cultivate stuff and that's all you got? I guess in some aspect you could be prevailed to say, well, this is because
Do you have time for a request?
the place was destroyed. And you had to redo everything.
Professor! Oh my, it's so good to see you. These days, so many old friends seem to be disappearing. But you're here. It's incredible to see you again after 5 years. I have a feeling your name will go down in history.
Professor,
Eloise.
I've given up on ever seeing you again. Where have you been hiding? Anyway, now that we're reunited in the land of the living, I must fulfill my promise. That's right. I promised the captain I'd protect you in his stead, and now I'll make good on my word.
Alright.
Professor? Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. You know, it's such a thrill to be able to greet you like this again. I almost died as well in the battle 5 years ago, but I won't allow any enemies to get into this place again. I promise you that. Even if the Death Knight shows up, I'll be sure to... Well, for now I'll keep training, so I can eventually feel confident that I can stop him.
Well, that's the attitude.
Now, there's unrest everywhere these days. All of my fellow merchants seem to be endangered. I hope things go back to normal soon. People need more to smile about, aside from my great deals. Hey,
Is that all you think is your great deals?
Hey,
Apparently.
I hope things...
Huh. Her shop's not open. Is it only available in part 1? I don't know.
Got a favor to ask.
Grab all these quests as I'm talking to the different people of...
Professor.
Oh. Hello, Lawrence.
Well met, Professor. I trust that you have not had any complaints about me lately.
I haven't. Should I be worried?
Do you find it concerning that I've ceased making advances toward the ladies? I've decided that it would be inappropriate for me to continue my search for a spouse while we are at war. I expect that means you will not be receiving any more complaints. I hope that puts you more at ease. Actually, the introspection I've gained setting aside my search has motivated me to amend my conduct.
Finally admitting your conduct was a problem. I'll be nice.
Not the phrasing I choose, but you're not wrong. Selfishly pursuing my own desires caused me to behave inconsiderately. For instance, it was arrogant and rude to invite ladies to dine with me purely to evaluate them. Our experiences in battle have also given me cause to doubt certain preconceptions I once held. Previously, I had considered it a requirement for my future spouse to come from a noble line. I once thought that commoners lacked the power to influence the wider world, as history might suggest. To find a commoner who made a real impact, one has to look all the way back to Nemesis. That was my belief, at any rate. But I realized that I've actually had an influential commoner right in front of me all along. Don't you see? I'm referring to you. You may wield the power of a crest. You are so much more than just that. You have managed to charm everyone around you, to compel them to trust and follow you. Though you may not realize it, that is no mean feat. It is altering the course of history in Fodlan. Your example puts my prior beliefs to shame. I appreciate the kind words. I have always sought to embody the ideal of nobility. That, at least, is a goal I continue to stand by. But now I know that bloodline alone is not sufficient to gauge a person's worth. I've learned much of this from you. You are humble and open-minded, despite your power and skill. That is why I, at least, find you so charismatic. Perhaps that is the wrong way to say it. What I mean is that you set an admirable example. I can only hope someday to be your equal. Of course, you had better keep an eye on me, because I can achieve anything I set out to do. For I am none other than the handsome and talented Lawrence Hellman Gloucester.
Oh boy. That's the thing. Lawrence does more or less redeem a lot of himself when he comes back, so I gotta hand it to him on that.
Why not go beyond the Knights of Seiros? Instead, uniting with allies from all across Fodlan to fight for our cause. Looking back, it would have been best to ally with the Kingdom and join forces against the Empire. But now the Kingdom is not exactly, well...
Yeah, you'll notice if you're with the Blue Lions and you have Golden Deer classmates that are a part of your house and vice versa, they'll lament not being able to be with
During the Millennium Festival, the leaders
who they
of all
originally
territories
were
were
from.
supposed to gather together and pledge
Or
perpetual
where they were
peace.
originally from, I should
Now
say.
the kingdom is also vastly different than before. I guess we'll...
So it's a really interesting kind of just shows like I'm here because I want to be here because we're a part of this house, but I still wish I could have been with
I'm more of a mercenary
X.
than a knight these days. I work to get paid. I never was too attached to Fodlan. I was considering leaving soon. But I might change my mind if you're around. In Lady Rhea's absence, I will follow you. That's what she would want me to do. Know that wherever you might lead us, I'll continue searching for Lady Rhea. Good, because I will not budge on that point. Welcome back, Professor.
All right.
Hey.
I don't know why I've got like this really
And
bad
in
frog
the
in my
alliance,
throat.
the lords have been at odds, so peace and prosperity have declined there as well. In particular, bandits have been appearing in large numbers near the Great Bridge of Murden. Rumor has it that the domain's lord, someone by the name of Acheron, is a completely ineffectual leader. Maybe.
Professor?
Alright. Let's go turn around here. Head down through this area. There we go.
Hey there, my friend. It's funny how the monastery was once in ruins. Now it's downright bustling. Thanks to a little promise 5 years ago, our buddies have all gathered. And even the knights have returned. It's like we were all just waiting for you to awaken. And now, we're all going to band together against the Imperial Army. You should go and talk to everyone if you can. There may be some who are still on the fence.
Yes. During his search for her grace, the Archbishop, Seteth has visited churches all it served as a result.
I think that guy's there no matter what.
Professor, I am so glad you are unharmed. No matter the path you walk, I will be with you every step of the way. Anything you ask of me, I shall see it through. You saved my life, and I am in your debt.
Oh. It's like Flynn's not anywhere good enough to teach you anything, so we're gonna just say, you know what, forget it.
Hey, I could use a hand.
Alright, why is this thing continually pulling that up? I don't need to see that. No, go away. Jeez.
I need a favor.
Alright. There's Lawrence.
I have written to my father to signal my intention to remain here. Not that I require his approval to do so. There is not much for me to gain by returning to Alliance territory now. But by staying, I will be able to influence the course of events directly on the field of battle. Naturally, someone needs to make certain he does not lead the Alliance to ruin.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't actually tell him, hey, are you just here to keep an eye on the guy?
Fighting alongside you and everyone else is a
I'll
dream
mention
come
it
true,
after.
Professor. And don't worry about my little sis. Right now, she's back home helping out with the family business. I kind of figured I was going to be stuck going back and taking over for her. But thanks to you and Claude, I get to work on my dream of becoming a proper knight.
I will show this. There's a certain somebody that's not in our roster anymore. Yeah, Ash isn't in this. I know I think I've mentioned this previously. If you're not part of the Golden Deer House and you have Laurens in your party, or if you are not part of the Blue Lion and Ash is in your party, when the 5-year gap happens, they leave. There is a point where you can go re-recruit them, but that's not current.
Members of the Knights tell me that Father left their ranks 5 years ago. They say he announced he was returning to the kingdom, but nobody's heard from him since. I haven't received word that he went back home to Mother. Where could he be? Where are you, Father?
Alright.
Hey, Professor! You won't believe what happened. I figured I couldn't go back to the Empire after Garreg Mach fell, so I started drifting across the kingdom in Alliance. Then, I just happened to run into our old class, so we came back to the monastery together.
Seems pretty typical. Oh, no. No! I wanted to! No!
Dear Goddess, I ask for guidance.
I think it was for her. I didn't see who it was
Professor,
for.
You're always watching over me, aren't you? I've spent my entire life avoiding people. Speaking to others was so difficult for me, so I made a point to always be alone. Animals and the goddess were the only ones I could really open up to. Do you remember the time you asked what it was I prayed for? Yes, but that wasn't the case. Back then, I felt that my life served no purpose, and that I was nothing more than a burden. In truth, I was begging the goddess to take me to her. That was my daily prayer. But now I fear the idea of dying and being left alone. I have friends who accept me for who I am now, in spite of my crest. And I have you watching over me. I finally learned to accept the kindness and warmth of others. It's because of you, Professor. Because of you, I've decided to live. I'm sorry to have worried you, but I'm all right now. Even if I'm separated from you or any of my friends, the memories I've made here will give me the strength to continue on. Oh, I'm sure I'll have the strength to move forward if we're together.
That's kind of like a, if you don't know what she was talking about kind of deal. Also, tons of people wanting an S-Rank. Oh. It'll take some time. Oh, okay. We'll get to those support conversations in a little bit. And then we'll kind of cut to when we get to the chapter mission, because there's no prologues. So, the reason why this is going to be a little bit longer is because we're running through the area, talking to everybody after 5 years. So,
Professor, I'm the heir of House Gautier, and I'm fighting alongside a bunch of Alliance people? I can just imagine my father's face contorted in anger, and the delightful words he must have used to describe me. I don't know how staying and fighting for Fargus would have helped. Sorry, Professor. I don't regret my decisions. I'm just thinking out loud. And I'm hoping I haven't made a big mistake.
yeah, that'll change if you pick... what he says changes depends on what house you had picked. So, there's that. And it seems like he was the... He's on... Sylvain and Felix seem like they're the ones in Fargus that just didn't have too much ties to it unless you actually have picked the house.
Edelgard is controlling the Empire. She is putting the pressure on the Kingdom in alliance. Empire and religion are at open war. It will be difficult for us at first, but corrupt nobles are many. That means the common people will rebel and be joining our side. With you, Professor, the battle tides will turn. I have certainty.
And I gotta say, that's an elegant way to dress. I like it. Don't get me wrong, I really do like it. Alright, let's go ahead and head on in. Leone, what's up?
It's not just for my village that I'm fighting alongside you here, you know. It's also that Captain Gerald asked me, his first and greatest apprentice, to look out for you. Of course, it wouldn't be enough just to keep you alive. It's my duty to make sure you win, too. So do your best, Professor, and count on me to watch your back.
Leone is just a good character all around. Okay. I thought I had a different shield.
A country with no king has no future. That's why I made my way here. Professor, don't let me down. Yes, let's. Find me a worthy opponent to battle, and I'll be content.
Hey.
Seems kind of just somewhat rude and morbid, but that's the thing. They genuinely think Dimitri's dead.
In the last 5 years, the monks here have left this place for the town below. However, once they learn of our return, perhaps they'll come back. I hope the monastery can return to normal someday.
You're here, Professor, along with everyone from our old class. It's like we've gone back in time. When I think that I'll be around you again, all of my sorrows just drift away. Yes. I'll at least try not to hold anyone back. Let's work together for the common good, like we did 5 years ago.
Dear God, even with the church in shambles, we can still pray. The goddess will surely hear our prayers. But still, I hope the church can return to its former beauty someday.
And there's this. Okay, that's for that. But there's somebody to talk to outside.
It's been fixed up quite a bit, but its battle scars aren't so easily erased. To think that a glorious cathedral with a 1,000-year history would end up like this. I'll rebuild this place someday. This cathedral is the symbol of Fodlan. Maybe I should paint a picture of the beautiful cathedral of old. Well, I still remember what it looked like.
We'll talk to the Abyss people in a little bit. And then I'll kind of... We'll work things out.
The promise was made 5 years ago. But I must say I'm rather impressed by how many of us managed to make it. Personally, I only showed up because I hope to see you again, Professor. I've been with my family in the Empire until recently. I admit to feeling a little guilty betraying Her Majesty, but only a little. Now that we're all together again, I suppose the fighting will begin soon.
Yeah. That is true.
I've grown weary and impatient. These past 5 years, my hands have been bound. But now, I can finally take action with a clear goal. I'm grateful to you and to everyone. Down with the Empire. Surely peace will soon follow if the Empire is overthrown. then my parents can finally find peace themselves.
Man, her story is crazy. Head to this side.
Let's see. I don't know anything about rebuilding, but I can sure do my best to clean up the mess. I'm gonna keep Lady Rhea's room spotless, so she can use it right away whenever she gets back. You gotta find her, Professor. You just gotta.
Don't worry.
Oh.
That'll happen.
I have lost my dominion. My nobility may seem like nothing more than a title, but I will never lose my noble heart. I will stop Edelgard, even if it costs me my life. I have turned my blade against her now. I cannot go back on that decision. Professor, do you think I chose the wrong path? You are right.
Alright.
Thankfully, it appears the records and equipment I need for my research have not been damaged. I am most curious, though. You say you were asleep for 5 whole years. Incredible. Perhaps this is another effect of your crest. I do look forward to investigating you in greater detail.
We can talk about that.
Wonderful news. I am most excited to begin. We must find the time, of course.
My Professor, you haven't changed a bit. At your age, I'd expect your whole demeanor to have changed greatly over 5 years. Though, I suppose I haven't changed either, right? Thank you for noticing, by the way. Ah, just the two of us, forever young. Oh, let me have my fun.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Alright.
5 long years I've searched for you and the Archbishop. It is a pleasure to see you again. The Church of Seiros will follow you from now on, but please do not abandon the search for Lady Rhea. Thank you. I know the battles ahead will be dire, but we will support you with all our strength.
I forget. Do I have his... Yeah, I went ahead and unlocked it at A. I wasn't sure if I did that or not. And Balthus has a quest? What? What is this nonsense?
My thank you so much.
I am grateful.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much.
Professor!
Hey you, listen up. I've got something to report. It's you. You're still alive. It's been 5 whole years, hasn't it? Time flies when you're standing guard. That's right, I've been here the whole time. Day in and day out. Like I have anywhere else to be. Looks like the Knights of Seiros have returned. Wonder if Mr. Backup is back too.
What is with you and that dude?
Oh, you have the look of someone relieved to see me. Before you ask, yes, my superior spellcraft is yours. It's your reward for waiting so patiently for me. Your quick acceptance of the truth is gratifying. But my assistance has a price. I expect you to aid me in fulfilling my dream of restoring House Nouvelle.
Some things never change. She's one of them.
These past 5 years have been so chaotic, even the bounty hunters backed off. I kinda miss the chase. I don't have family ties worth fighting for, so these muscles are up for grabs. Use me as you see fit, pal. You're a smart one. Just point me at a problem and I'll smash it up for you. If you're worried my skills have dulled from disuse, think again. I've been fighting thieves to stay sharp. Got a favor to ask.
No fighting. We got some fighting to do. Alright. That's the same altar. This unlocks the other two here. I don't have enough renown for that, but we'll work on it. We need 6,000 renown to do all of it. Okay, they're in there.
Back finally! I've been waiting for so long. I thought you might have died. But I didn't have anywhere else to go, so I stayed here. I'll think about forgiving you. I've been kinda lonely. As you might have noticed, we've lost a few people down here.
Well, hello. It's been a while, hasn't it? Are you really so surprised to see me here? I flew here just as soon as I heard you were alive. I care more than you may realize. Who are you now? I will admit, hearing that does make my heart flutter a bit. So long as our efforts are aligned, I'll happily work alongside you.
They changed the way his portrait looks is like very different in terms of the size of the face from what it previously was. Well, I mean, it's a 5-year thing, I get it, but it's, I don't know. It just looked a little bit, I guess, different. I guess is one way to put it. But anyway, we'll start this, and then when we come back after all these, it'll be mission time.
The earth nurtures the trees, and the trees bear fruit. It's the earth itself that gives us all life. O Fodlan, land of plenty, bless us with the gift of delicious food.
What are you doing?
Oh, it's just you, Lawrence.
I was disturbed by your ridiculous blather. Must you recite it quite so loudly? And can you even call that nonsense poetry when it is utterly ignorant of rhyme and meter?
Ouch! You don't hold back, do you? I didn't know you were so particular about poetry. Ha! Maybe you have a secret poetry collection of your own hidden somewhere.
That's absurd. Where did you hear that? And just what was that poem about? It seemed to me that you were praising the land. But is it not the goddess who nurtures the land? Should your praise not go to her instead?
Of course you zero in on that detail. You really are a Fodlan noble through and through.
Certainly. Aren't you?
I'm not quite the same, no. Though noble blood flows within me, it can't change who I am at heart.
Pardon? I think you had best clarify.
Listen, Lawrence, you had ambitions of becoming the Alliance's ruler, didn't you? Would you like to try that for real? If you really want it, I wouldn't mind giving up my position.
What's this all of a sudden? That is not an offer to be made in jest.
I'm not joking around. I've been thinking it for a while now. I originally thought you were like a fox drawn in by the deer of the Alliance. But I was wrong. You're no thoughtless predator. You're trying to properly train the deer around you. Isn't that right?
That is my intention. But the ambition is insufficient. To rule well, a certain temperament is required. When we first met, I mistrusted you a great deal, and on my father's advice, I observed you closely. That is why I can say this for certain. You possess the qualities necessary to govern.
A compliment? From you? That's about as rare as a deer standing on its hind legs and doing a jig.
Merely a statement of fact, one that is quite relevant to the future of the Alliance.
The future of the Alliance, huh? You really are devoted to your cause.
Depending on your actions, I may yet see fit to seize your position for myself. Bear that in mind.
I I welcome the idea. It means I can feel safe vanishing whenever I see fit.
Vanishing? Do not tell me you intend to die in this conflict. You cannot shape the future if you do not live to see it.
Ha! First you compliment me, and now you're worrying about me? What have you done with the real Lawrence? No, I'm not going to die. I'm tougher than I look. Besides, this war isn't just for the Alliance anymore. It's going to decide the fate of all Fodlan. It would be cruel to leave you with the burden of uniting all of Fodlan by yourself, don't you think?
Burden? Please. If there were none other suitable, I would gladly become a king. Or even an emperor.
Well, well. I guess I shouldn't take Lawrence of the famous House Gloucester so lightly. Really, though, don't you go dying on me either, Lawrence. We're going to need men like you in the age to come.
The same to you, Claude. A world without you would be ever so dull.
Strategically speaking, if I poised an archer to lie in wait here, and then lured the enemy in over here...
Lysithea, are you up late studying again?
I am, but I don't see how it's any of your business.
Look, you don't need to work yourself so hard. You're already as skilled as they come. There aren't many people out there who can match you. Everyone knows that.
I apologize for my sharpness. I just feel pressured.
Why would you, of all people, feel pressured?
I place a lot of personal pressure on myself. I need to become as strong as possible to put my parents at ease.
When I met with Count Ordelia before, he said you were his pride and joy. But he also said his only concern was that you might be pushing yourself too hard. If you really want to make your parents happy, surely you should start by taking care of yourself.
That's true.
Then it's settled. Get some rest. Save your energy for tomorrow's battle.
You really are very mature, Claude, despite the impression you give off. And I clearly have plenty of growing to do. I probably don't have much room to come down on you for harping on me.
Oh, really? Does that mean you won't get mad if I treat you like a child from now on?
That is absolutely not what I said. Just after you finally earned a small degree of respect from me, too.
Hey, just think about it for a second. You're the only one in the world I treat like this. That means you're a pretty special person to me.
You think I'm special?
Take it however you like. Or maybe the thought is too much for a kiddo like you.
How dare you!
Yeah, don't do anything you might regret. I don't want to be turned to dust.
I'm feeling generous, so I'll let you off easy this one time.
Well, that's good of you. All joking aside, go get yourself some shut-eye, okay? After all, if you don't hurry up, the boogeyman might come out and eat you!
All right, buddy, you asked for it! I feel like I'm drowning in responsibilities. Claude, take my mind off it all. Regale me with another of your weird childhood stories.
Okay, then. How about an old story from a foreign land that my dad told me when I was a kid? Once upon a time, there was a white camel that got separated from his herd.
I'm so happy for that white camel. I really thought he was gonna die.
Was that story really worth bawling your eyes out over?
It was wonderful. Don't you know how moving that story is?
You know, I never thought much of it until today. But seeing you bawling like that, I do appreciate it a little more now.
What's that mean?
Well, you're always fake crying, aren't you? Getting all misty-eyed to make people think you're a delicate flower?
What? You're awful. I only cry when I'm sad.
Claim what you like, but I can spot real tears from fake tears any day of the week. Fess up.
If you understand me so well, maybe it's because you're no different.
How's that?
When you smile or laugh, it's not sincere.
I can tell. I've only seen you genuinely smile a handful of times. Like when you're talking to the professor.
Wow, good one, Hilda. You hit me right in the gut. I guess you're right. I'm not so different from you in that way. But how did you come to realize that? Have you been watching me that closely?
I'm afraid so. My eyes seem to wander toward you of their own accord. What? Hold on. Forget I said that. I didn't say that.
Nope, no can do. Forgetting isn't something this crafty brain of mine is capable of. Besides, my eyes have a tendency to wander in your direction too. How else do you think I found out about your fake crying?
Huh? What are you getting at?
Say, Hilda, once everything's settled down, do you want to come meet my parents? I mean, don't get the wrong idea, you just seem interested in my family. Besides, you've opened up to me quite a bit, but I still haven't let you in on my own secrets. If you meet my parents, I think you'll understand, though it might come as a bit of a surprise.
Your family? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious.
Well then, if neither of us changes our minds before the opportunity presents itself, let's agree to go visit my home together.
Although, if it's a long journey, my brother might not be too happy.
True, that might be a tough nut to crack. As tough as Fodlan's locket.
Sorry, Claude. You can't go past.
Huh? Ah, Cyril, it's you. Is there a problem? It's not the first time I've been to the Holy Tomb. Rhea herself took me there once. Besides, the inside's been scoured by the Imperial Army. There's nothing left there now.
Don't matter. Lady Rhea said nobody could go in, so I can't let you through. I gotta do what Lady Rhea says. You wanna break them rules? Then you'll be her enemy. If you're trying to do that, I'll have to fight you.
Fine, I get it. I wouldn't hesitate to make an enemy of Rhea if it came to that. But I'd rather not fight with you. So I'll back off. For now.
Why is that?
Does it matter?
Dunno. With your status, you could smack me to the ground and walk right over me.
I guess. But I wouldn't. We're friends.
I thought you were the kind of guy who'd smack down just about anybody if you needed to.
You really are a stubborn one. All right then, I'll tell you. I swore I'd change this world so that those without status are no longer oppressed. Though you were never one of the people I was hoping to save. I never knew that there were people in Elmira in your kind of situation. I realized that my own perspective was too narrow. You helped me realize that. So, I owe you.
Did you just say you're all about saving people who are oppressed? Really?
I did. Is it so strange to hear that from me?
It's just... you reminded me of Lady Rhea there for a second. Lady Rhea always tried to save us folks without any status in the world. Like when she let an outsider like me stay at the monastery. That was real nice. She brought in those kids from Remire Village when they lost their parents, and...
Well, I'm not a religious man. I'm sure Rhea wouldn't want to be lumped in with a guy like me.
Lady Rhea didn't do those things because the goddess told her she should. She did it because she wanted to. I can tell you that.
I see. In that case, maybe I don't need to make an enemy of her. Thanks, Cyril. I think you've brought me a step closer to my dream.
Thanks to you too, Claude. If I was able to help you, then that makes me happy.
Ignatz, hello. What are you up to?
Ah! You frightened me.
Oh, calm yourself. What is it that you're drawing?
I thought I'd jot down some sketches of everyone while they're training. And then later on, I'll try to practice their moves on my own. But I can't really concentrate on sketching if someone's watching me.
Just sketches, Even so, they're lovely. There's such life in them. It's as if they're moving on the page before my very eyes.
You really think so? You know, I always hoped to be an artist.
With skills like that, I'm quite certain you could easily make a living of it. And your demeanor is different when you draw. Bolder somehow. Ah, yes, there's an idea. Perhaps in the future you will join my retinue as my personal painter. Wait, have we not discussed this arrangement already? I had decided to take you into my service as a knight, had I not?
Becoming a knight was my father's idea. Being an artist is out of the question, I'm afraid.
So you've said. Well then, I suppose you shall simply have to become a knight who also paints.
A knight who also paints?
I have seen your talent and can attest to it. Your gifts are too great to wither away in obscurity. A knight with the rare gift of artistic talent would be most welcome in my employ.
I had never thought of that. Still, I don't understand why you'd want me as one of your knights. As a fighter, I'm unremarkable.
There is more to knighthood than combat. Courtly manners, a dignified bearing, and an aesthetic sensibility are also essential. A knight with an eye for art and the talent to create it is sure to improve the image of the nobility.
Lawrence, I'd never have guessed you were prone to such eccentric ideas. Thank you. I'm feeling a little more confident after hearing your kind words.
Oh, no cause for thanks. It is a noble's duty to provide guidance to those in need.
Hey, Raphael. I finally finished that necklace for you. Here you go.
Huh? Oh! Whoa! This is incredible! And so shiny! You're like an artist, Hilda! How'd you do this?
Just like I told you. I put the flowers and the shiny rocks in a bottle, and then poured in some resin to preserve everything. I thought the flowers you had were looking a little pathetic, so I added a few of my own. It was hard work, making sure the flowers and the stones were spread evenly, getting rid of the air bubbles.
What's this? The part you hang around your neck? I thought you used the one I gave you.
Oh yeah, no, that's a cord I braided. I was going to use metal, but some people are allergic to metal, so I figured better safe than sorry. Anyway, you didn't give me much to work with, and look what I pulled off. I am a miracle worker.
It's gorgeous! Beautiful! I've never seen anything like it. Thank you, Hilda.
Wow, hold up! What's with the blubbering?
It's just... I bet my sister never got anything so pretty in her whole life. She's had to deal with so much because of me. I never got her anything this nice and cute before. She's gonna love it and be so happy.
Okay. Yes, okay, that's enough. Come on, you're embarrassing me here. If you're really that happy, I'm glad I put some effort into something for once.
Don't you always put effort into things?
That's sweet of you, but no, I don't want to put in effort and then disappoint people. It's dispiriting, not to mention tiring.
But what if they're not disappointed? Then they'd feel great, and you'd feel great too.
Yeah, you have a point there. I guess I'm realizing that now. You know, thanks to you, I'm starting to see things from my brother's perspective.
What do you mean? Do you have a big bro too?
I do. I've always thought of him as an overprotective nuisance, but now I feel thankful. Looking at you, I couldn't help but think, sometimes big brothers are okay.
I didn't do anything special, though. It's natural for a big bro to look after his little sis. Oh, that reminds me. I still haven't found anything special enough to repay you for the necklace. I got an idea, though. How about I help you make a tough-looking necklace for your big bro?
No need. I have a better idea. When the wars simmer down, why don't you and your sister come visit me?
Really? That's it?
Yeah, I want to make sure it suits her. And then I can adjust the cord if I need to.
Of course we'll come visit. I told my sis all about you, and she already wants to meet you.
Well, good. I look forward to it. In the meantime, hold me close to your heart.
What?
That's what the necklace would say if it could talk. Hold me close to your heart.
Hey, Marianne? Are you there?
Yes. Can I help you?
Do you have a minute?
Huh? Oh,
Then, if you don't mind, would you come with me for a moment?
So, did you need something from me?
Yes, indeed. I have an urgent request.
Have I done something?
Oh, no, it's nothing like that. Really, you don't have to worry. Would you close your eyes, please?
Then how will I know where I'm going?
Just take my hand. That's it. There, right there. Perfect. Now open your eyes.
Oh, the town is glowing from the sunset.
Yes. Isn't it beautiful?
Very much so.
I was looking at it earlier and I thought to myself, I have to show Marianne.
But why me?
Because you're always looking at your shoes. You never get a chance to appreciate the scenery.
Oh,
See, the best thing about the scenery is, it's always changing. With the weather, the time of day, the season. So every view is unique. Never to be repeated. If no one sees it, it's lost.
You could have just enjoyed it on your own.
I wanted to share this beautiful landscape with you.
Thank you. I'm not sure what to say.
Hey, that's okay. I won't try to express this beauty in words either. Just look and remember. This will make for a nice memory. And maybe remember that I was here too.
I will. I really will.
Oof. Capsized the teapot. Tea leaves on the carpet. This'll be fun to clean up.
Hey, Hilda. Is something wrong?
Ignatz. I accidentally knocked over my teapot. I'd drunk all the tea already, thank the goddess, but the tea leaves went right into the carpet.
Oh, that's a mess. Here, let me help. I can leave stains if you're not careful.
But don't you have somewhere to be?
Oh no, don't worry. I'm on a break.
What's that in your hands? Oh, painting supplies. You were gonna go do some painting, weren't you?
Ah, yes. The weather's quite splendid, and I found a place where some gorgeous flowers are blooming. But the flowers aren't going anywhere this second. Let's clean this up.
Okay. Thanks, Ignatz, and sorry to keep you away from your painting.
That's okay. It didn't stain at least. We picked all the leaves out of the carpet.
Still going painting? Or is it too late in the day?
No, I think time-wise it'll be fine. If you're not doing anything, Hilda, would you care to join me? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. Forget what I said. I'm sure you're busy anyway.
You didn't let me say anything.
Well, no, but you didn't reply, so I thought you didn't want to.
I never said I didn't want to. I was just surprised. I'd love to see those pretty flowers you mentioned. I'm glad you invited me.
Oh, that's good. Wait, you're glad?
Of course I am. I like being invited to things silly.
Right, of course. It's affirming.
Yeah, exactly. See? You get it. So there's no need to worry that an invitation is burdening someone. It feels good to be asked.
Of course. Well then, in addition to seeing the flowers with me, would you like to help with my painting?
I wouldn't want to screw up your opus. I'm not much of a painter.
No, I meant that I'd like to paint you. With the flowers all around you. Oh, that's too much, isn't it? Forget I said anything.
silly. You didn't even let me answer. But you're right. I'm not up for that.
I'm sorry,
I'm not up for that, unless your painting of me will look really, really cute. Can you make that happen?
Huh? Yes, of course. I'll paint you cute as a button.
Good. Shouldn't be too hard. I can feel a very cute smile coming on.
Hilda? I wanted to thank you for helping me in the infirmary. I brought you these pastries.
Ooh, thanks. I'll put some tea on. Have a seat.
That sounds lovely. But I also wanted to apologize for always causing you such trouble.
It's no trouble. No trouble at all. Everything tastes better with friends, don't you think? I give you help, you give me sweets, we have a little tea party. It's a good arrangement, I'd say. I'm used to it now, so if it changed suddenly, I would feel disoriented.
I suppose if you're enjoying yourself, then it can't be that bad.
Sure. You don't seem to mind listening while I gab, so I'm enjoying myself plenty. But do let me know if I'm too boring.
No, you're not boring at all. In fact, you're, very good at talking. You're also good with your hands. You can clean and organize better than almost anyone. I envy you.
Oh, stop. I'm blushing. I'm not as great as all that. We're both a lot different on the inside than we look on the outside, don't you think?
How do you mean?
People who see you think you're so proper, but you're actually clumsy. That's why I help you, because there are some things you just can't do.
I'm sorry you always have to clean up after me.
I didn't say I hated it. In fact, you've taught me a few new techniques I can use to persuade people. Maybe I'll start imitating you a little bit. I'll do the Marianne. That sheepish, sorry, and those quavering downcast eyes. But that might not work as well for me. People would probably assume that I'd hit my head.
Oh, well...
Aw, Marianne laughing at me. So rude and yet so adorable.
I'm so sorry. I just can't help it. When I imagine you doing those things,
Yeah. It's rather un-Hilda-like, I'll admit. Okay, that's enough laughing.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, are you all right? That tea's hot, Marianne. Be careful.
Yes. Oh, ouch, hot.
Come on, what did I just say?
I know, I'm sorry. Ow, hot.
Oh boy, a real steady hand, that Marianne. It's nice to see her laugh. Sure, she was laughing at me, but how can I get mad when she looks so dang cute?
Hey, Hilda, can I ask you something?
Hey, Caspar. Sure, go ahead.
Well, you know that thing you do where you flirt with guys and get them to do stuff for you? Why don't you ever do that with me?
Oh, you want me to take advantage of you, eh? I'm happy to oblige. You're surprisingly sharp.
You know, Wait, surprisingly? What's that supposed to mean?
I didn't think there was much point in taking advantage of you. You're not one to do favors. So I just never bothered. It seems like less trouble to do things myself.
You really think I'm so heartless that I wouldn't be willing to help you out? I'd be happy to help, depending on what it is you need.
That's not my style, though. I don't ask people to do favors for me. I prefer for them to notice what I want and offer to do it themselves. You're not attentive enough to notice. But you do notice that I'm working my charms on others. How bizarre.
I guess that makes sense. Sorry I've been so oblivious to your needs.
But why can't you just ask?
Well, when I ask someone for help, it's awkward for them to say no, so they go along with it even if they don't want to. But when they offer to help, everyone feels better about themselves.
Sure, but if your plan is to guilt someone into offering their help, isn't that the same or worse?
Oh, my dear Caspar, guilt isn't why they offer. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to feel like I'm constraining you. I like your carefree lifestyle.
I'm not sure I follow, but I like the way you live too. Not being tied down by anything or anyone sounds like a pretty easy life. I get that. If there's anything you really need help with, though, don't be afraid to ask me. Sometimes you can't afford to wait around for someone else to notice.
That's sweet, Caspar. Thanks. Well, since you're offering, why don't you come to my room? I thought of something you can do for me.
Your room? Are you redecorating? Or moving out?
You're really oblivious, huh? I don't know what to do with you, Caspar.
I don't follow.
I could use some help carrying luggage.
Is that it? That's no problem at all.
Ferdinand? Our professor is wanting to see you. He has much concentration right now. I will wait for him to be finished reading.
Diplomacy has an effect upon weapons development. Yes, that makes sense. Oh, Petra! How long have you been there?
A short time. You were devoting all of your attention to that book.
Forgive me, I was fully absorbed in my reading. I see you have been reading as well. Anything interesting?
I am studying the history of Fodlan.
A history book? What a keen student you are. And it's about House Hresfelg. Certainly a stimulating topic.
I am wishing to learn all about Fodlan. What is the book you are reading?
Oh, this? This relates to a little hobby of mine. The regional history of weapons development in Fodlan. Militaries have to adapt their weapons according to terrain and climate. And they have to keep up with technologies in other regions. It's very interesting.
Yes, it is interesting. I see why you would be enjoying that kind of reading.
Oh, does that excite your curiosity too? Perhaps you would care to read more about it then. This is just one of 18 volumes, and our library has the entire collection.
I give you my gratitude. Research of weapons could be a good reference for me. Oh, please take my apologies. I was meaning to tell you that our professor is wanting to see you.
Oh, it is not like you to forget something. I suppose I ought to be going then.
Yes, it is a rarity that I forget something. But it is not impossible.
Why did you bring me here? It's so isolated.
That would be the point.
Yikes. See you around, B.
Hang on a second. Out here, in a place like this, you should be free to sigh, yeah?
What do you mean by that?
I just thought it would do you well to cut loose and sigh to your heart's content.
Really? You found a nice quiet place where you could annoy me without putting bystanders at risk?
Why does this always happen? That's not what I meant. This is me doing something nice for you. You said before that you can't ever relax because you're worried about endangering others. A lot's been going on recently, so let her rip already. Sigh until you can sigh no more.
That's nice of you. A chance to relax and sigh as I please. Sounds good. But what do we do about the monsters?
What do you think? A monster shows up, I punch it in the nose. Done deal.
By yourself?
I'm never alone, pal. These two fists are always by my side, and they never let me down.
Oh, right.
It doesn't have to be here if you have performance anxiety, but anytime you accidentally call a monster, just holler and I'll punch it to next Tuesday. In fact, maybe it's best if you just stick by my side from now on. Do that and you're free to sigh whenever the urge strikes.
Why would I have to stay by your side?
Not a lot of people in this world can knock out a beast without breaking a sweat. I'm one of them. And since I'm always on the run from bounty hunters, I'm an exceptionally light sleeper.
You expect me to sleep by your side too?
Ooh, this may be my best idea yet. If I'm always with a monster summoner, fewer people will come after my bounty. This is brilliant.
You never change, Bee. You're so predictable. All right, have fun.
Have fun? That's an odd thing to do. Monsters, they're everywhere. This is gonna be a blast.
It's hard not to like that dummy.
Am I in bed dreaming, or is that you, Mercedes? How serendipitous it is to see you again.
Yes, and here we are. You were so small when I saw you last. How you've grown.
I cannot express how worried I was to hear that you had left House Bartels. I was turned away any time I asked about you, and of course Emile would never tell me anything.
I'm sorry. There was so much going on in House Bartels back then. But enough about all that. How are you, Constance? I hear you've had hardships of your own.
Indeed. House Nouvelle is no more, and I went alone to the School of Sorcery.
Oh, you went to the Royal School of Sorcery? Just before I began at the Officers' Academy, I was studying there as well.
You were? It must have been after my graduation in 1177.
That was the year I enrolled. We probably just missed each other.
No! You mean to say that if I had stayed a trifle longer, we could have been reunited sooner?
It seems so. Ah, dear Constance. When we were little, I thought of you as my little sister. But now that you've grown up, I think our roles might be reversed. I'll be looking up to you now, and maybe even asking for your help sometimes.
You'd ask for my help? I never thought I'd see the day.
And yet you're seeing it. You know, I had another friend at the school. Her name is Annie. Why don't we all have some tea together? I'm sure you two would really hit it off.
You must mean Annette. Yes, I would welcome the chance to have a long chat with her. I'll prepare the tea straight away.
Oh, no need to rush. The tea isn't going anywhere.
Don't be ridiculous. Time is always of the essence. Why put off for later what I could?
Constance, I wonder what's the matter. Did something happen?
Mercedes, sharing your precious time with me is perhaps more than I deserve.
What do you mean?
Why sit with me when you could share your tea time with someone else? I shall instead stand and serve the tea, though if my presence still proves to be a burden.
Goodness, of course it isn't. Are you feeling all right?
My feelings are immaterial. Pardon me while I fetch the tea leaves at once.
Until a moment ago, everything seemed all right. Why did she change so suddenly? I'll have to ask her what's going on.
Another failure! How? Was there an error in my calculations? I had precious few materials as things stood. Where will I get more once these run out?
Oh, don't act so rueful. You carried out my directions faithfully. Neither the credit nor the blame ought to be yours. My grand achievement is further away than I had hoped. House Nouvelle's future seems so dim. You're correct, of course. I mustn't be discouraged. It is hard to maintain one's patience after 5 years. But in the greater context of the history of House Nouvelle, 5 years is barely worth counting. I have been in a low place indeed to require so much reassurance. And for your reassurance, I am truly grateful. You have spurred me to continue my research. You've been useful to me in many ways, in fact. Research assistant, confidant, test subject. All of this is preparing you well for your greater role to come. My personal attendant! There are few as naturally servile as you in all of Fodlan. When House Nouvelle is at long last restored, we simply must find the proper position for you. Granted, this will be difficult, perhaps even impossible to accept, given your current status. But I rarely let the impossible stop me. I shall see it all done. The restoration of my house, installing you as my servant, and more. Are you ready for the next steps? Oh, come now. My sulk ended minutes ago. Do keep up. But on the rare occasion that I find myself at a loss, I grant you permission to lift my spirits. I don't know that I care for the hint of resignation in your tone, but no matter. I expect you to do your all for the sake of my house nonetheless.
Professor, please do not be concerned. I just did too much overworking and lost my strength. Yes, that is the truth. Please accept my apology. I have sorrow. I am sorry to be fainting at a time like this. Even though I was not asking for your care and attention, you gave it willingly. I am thinking that is incorrect. Will you have a listen to me? There is something that I must be saying. I am thinking you already have knowledge of why I came to Fodlan. Not for studying, but as a hostage for the Empire. So that Bridget would not be rebelling anymore. It feels like a knife against my throat. That I am making my grandfather obey the Empire. If I were running away from the Empire, then Bridget would be defeated. I am not having any options. To be living, I must be fighting to win. For Bridget to be living, the Empire needs to be crushed. So I must be crushing the Empire. That is what my people are wanting from me. And what my grandfather, the King of Bridget, is wanting. That is a truth. I wonder what I should be doing. I want to be granting the wants of my tribe. So their wants are my own, correct? What I really want... I have understanding. Wait, no, I actually do not have understanding. Yet. What I am understanding is that there is something I am not understanding. When I know what my true want is, I give you my promise that I will be telling you first.
Thanks for the invite. Just as a heads up, I don't know the first thing about tea.
Thanks.
Oh, hot. Yep. What? Yep. What? Nope. That was way more fun than I expected. Let's have tea again soon. Next time, more snacks.
Hey, Professor. I think you've been working too much lately. The battle's gonna keep going with or without you, but you're the one doing the most out there. It's real impressive how you can focus on giving orders and fighting. I don't think I could do both in the same battle. I see you running all over the place, even after the battle's over. I just don't want you to wear yourself out. Oh yeah? As soon as you say you're fine, that's when it hits you. No offense, Professor, but don't you think some folks might be taking advantage of you? Claude keeps asking you to do things, but you never say no. Like when you gave that speech to the troops. That didn't seem like something you wanted to do. I know you gotta follow orders on the battlefield, but you shouldn't have to do things off the battlefield if you don't wanna. What do you mean? Like studying? Sure, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but that was to keep my little sis fed. I had good reason for it. The same, huh? I think I get what you mean. You do things you don't want to do for the sake of everyone else. That's real noble of you, Professor. I guess I can't get in your way if you're doing it for the right reasons. Okay then. I'm gonna keep trying to do my best. But now, I'm gonna do it for you. My little sis is important to me. But you're real important too. I always work hard for the people who matter to me. And having more of them in my life just means I gotta work even harder. What do you think? Really? I wasn't expecting you to say that. You're gonna make me blush. We gotta keep working hard together then. At least until this war's over. I'll work to make sure you don't collapse from exhaustion. You got nothing to worry about, Professor. I've been training non-stop. I got your back, no matter what.
Oh, do you have an itch back there? I guess you can't scratch it on your own, can you?
Hi, Marianne.
Oh, Claude. It's just you.
Sorry, I know you're in the middle of an important discussion with Dorte, but could I talk to you?
About what?
It's about this thing you think you're burdened with. I've tried to guess what it is.
Please don't. This is making me a little uncomfortable.
There's no reason to feel uncomfortable. It's not like I plan on saying it aloud. But if my guess is correct, there's something I want to tell you. Will you hear me out?
Fine. I will listen.
Once upon a time, in a faraway place.
What the... Are you telling me a story?
Just listen. Once upon a time, in a faraway place, there was a young boy. This boy came from a despised lineage. In short, his mother was a daughter of the enemy. So the young boy was treated horribly by everyone around him. He hadn't done anything wrong. Everyone hated him simply for existing. Yelling, fighting back, explaining himself. Nothing he did could change his situation. When he was finally old enough, he ran far away from home. He escaped.
It sounds to me like he had no choice. I would have done the same had it been me.
Thing is, after he ran away, he still found himself in the very same position. People in the outside world hated him for where he came from.
Well, now that's...
the boy thought he had no place to go. All he could do was destroy the boundary between the inside and the outside worlds.
Destroy the boundaries?
Right. If there was no outside and inside, just one side to share, then the people outside wouldn't have a reason to hate him anymore. It wouldn't be easy, but if he managed it, he could shrug off that burden. Right. If there was no outside and inside, just one side to share, then the people outside wouldn't have a reason to hate him anymore, right? The point is, people are born with burdens to carry. That much is undeniable. But whether they bind us or we cast them aside, that's up to us. So I think you should try to cast yours aside, Marianne. Put that heavy burden down. It's time.
But I don't know if I can do it.
It's okay. I'm here for you. We're the same, and I can help you.
The same? Claude, we have nothing in common.
Hey, did you see that, Dorte? Your friend just smiled at me.
Thank you for sharing your story. I suppose I could try casting aside burden, as you say. We can try together.
Let's do that. And when we're free, we can change the whole world.
Well, we've got another battle coming up. What do you think of our chances?
Winning is always the goal. At any rate, I've done everything I can to prepare.
That's the right attitude. I'm sure they're doing all they can on their side, too.
I don't doubt it, but however strong they are, it's no more than a Fodlan concern. Who knows how far this world extends beyond the boundaries of Fodlan? Talk of strength or weakness doesn't amount to much when it's only in relation to a tiny corner of the world.
Guess you're right. Thinking about it like that, even this war seems like a storm in a teacup.
Exactly. It's nothing more than an internal quarrel amongst the people of Fodlan.
Typical laid-back Claude. I always like talking to you. Your perspective on the world is so refreshing. Things I thought were obvious turn out not to be.
The way you think, that changes the way you see things. Common sense never tells the whole story. It's similar to what we were talking about before, about how you need to doubt yourself first.
True enough, but where did you get these ideas? That perspective of looking past the walls of Fodlan, when it's all we can see in front of us.
Do you really want to know?
I do.
But I'm afraid now isn't the time. When this war is won, I'll tell you all about it. It'll be easier for me to show you than to tell you.
Show me. Are we going somewhere?
It's quite a distance. You'll start to appreciate how big the world is if you go.
Sounds eye-opening. I'll look forward to it. Can we call it a promise?
Yes, it's a promise. But first, let's win this war and leave it far behind us.
Hey, Claude. Care to pick up where we left off? I got some time to kill.
You'll have to kill time on your own, I'm afraid. My calendar's full at the moment.
Ah, don't be like that. You're not afraid I'm gonna expose your true identity, are you? I would never. Besides, my own bloodline isn't so lofty that I can get away with something like that.
I bet your father would just love to hear you say that. And the Albrecht family is from a distinguished noble house, so I'm not sure what you mean.
Not as distinguished as you would think. And my mom wasn't born a noble.
Ah, the plot thickens. So, your mother was a commoner then?
In a sense, but it's complicated. Listen up, and I'll tell you a little story. You know Kupala, yeah? Those folks have been living in the mountains of Fodlan's throat for ages.
I know it well. Tales of that place were carried on the wind to where I grew up. Here's my favorite. In a land surrounded by tall mountains, untouched by civilization, lies a hidden village. The people who live there, the mystical Kupala tribe. They say that an ancient and powerful bloodline runs through their veins to this very day. Don't try to find them, people say, or you're liable to get hexed. Or so the tale goes. That part was probably added to spice up the story a bit, but even so, You're certainly a mysterious lot.
They don't leave their homeland too often, so it's only natural that strange rumors would arise.
And your mother, is she really some kind of Kupala princess or something?
Not a princess, but she was born and raised there. She left, got lost, and was rescued. By my dad. He fell head over heels for her. Made her his wife. That's when her troubles really started.
Did your father tell anyone where she was from?
Of course not. But it didn't matter. She was still a stranger of questionable lineage. The family treated her horribly. That eventually led to them splitting up and my dad remarrying.
That's not an uncommon circumstance for a noble house. Where is she now?
With nowhere else to turn, she went back to Kupala, even though my pops tried to convince her to stay.
I'm guessing you two left for much the same reason. Too hard to put up with the foul treatment, right?
That's part of it. If my mom had been Fodlan nobility, my life would have been very different. So, what do you think? Did I drum up some empathy? After all, half of your blood comes from...
I hear you, Balthus. Can't say I don't empathize, though our circumstances are pretty different.
So you admit it then! I knew I was right about you. My instincts are second to none.
Your instincts, right. Look, if it makes you happy, you just go on believing whatever you want.
I'll do just that. Say, Claude, it'd be a shame if your true identity was exposed, yeah? Real shame. I'm thinking you better... set up a meeting between me and your mom? She was my first crush, after all. I had it bad for her back in the day. I'm still haunted by the fact that I never had the chance to tell her.
That's... bothersome. And that aside, you do know that time didn't exactly stop for her, right?
Not a problem, pal. Age is beauty.
Goodness, Hilda, you look worried. Is something the matter?
Oh, Mercedes. I was on my way to the greenhouse to water the flowers. But I have a meeting with the professor right now, so I'll have to be quick.
It must be urgent to call you at this hour of the morning. Go see what the professor needs from you. I can take care of the flowers.
Oh, are you sure? Thank you so much.
It's no problem at all. Let me take the water from you.
Thank you again. I'll see you at lunch.
Right. I'm off.
Oops, my meeting with the professor was tomorrow. Anyway, thanks, Mercedes. Still no Mercedes. All she had to do was water a few plants. I didn't think it would take this much time. It's almost noon. Maybe I'll go see what she's up to.
And that's the last of that. Perfect.
What's taking you so long?
Oh, Hilda. Is your meeting with the professor over already?
Yes. It's almost lunchtime. What are you still doing here?
Lunchtime? I hadn't realized how late it was. After watering the flowers, I noticed that the greenhouse was in need of some tidying. I must have gotten a bit carried away. It's so pleasant working in here.
Oh, pleasant. Sure. You're such a kind person.
No, it was my pleasure. Anyway, shall we head to the dining hall?
I should have just done it myself. Waiting for her was so exhausting.
What was that, Hilda? Come along, I'm hungry.
Coming! What should we eat? Hi, Cyril. Starting to clean, huh?
Hilda?
Personally, I'm all worn out from carrying water and fodder for the horses. I'm going to rest here a sec.
Whoa, tired? Water? Horses? Are you saying you did work all by yourself?
What else was I supposed to do? You weren't here to help.
Okay, I get it. You did the work because you couldn't find nobody else to do it for you.
I was waiting for you. Because look.
A letter?
I told you I'm always getting letters from my brother. I wrote about you in a couple of mine.
You're talking about me behind my back? Honestly, you're so...
We didn't say anything bad. In fact, well, listen up. Here's what my brother wrote. Be he Almiran or no, any young man with compassion and good conduct is worthy of respect. Character is what really matters, not the place of one's birth.
Huh, that's pretty nice. Especially since it was from a noble who battles Almirans.
Right? He's a funny one, but for the first time, I really respect him. So thoughtful and tolerant.
That letter makes me happy. A lot of people look down on me just because I'm Almiran. So, you know, it's nice to hear somebody accept me as just another person.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? I've accepted you from the start. I mean, you're so helpful. You do everything I ask.
That's not acceptance. That's relying on somebody else to do your work. What you ought to do is be a grown-up who your brother doesn't need to worry about so much.
I'm plenty grown up. I just brought food and water for the horses, all on my own.
Being proud of doing what you're supposed to be doing just means you're lazy the rest of the time. Though, I gotta admit, being relied on is kinda nice.
In that case, from now on, I'll rely on you even more. Let's see. First, I need you to...
Well, time to get back to work.
Hey, hold up!
Yeah. Yeah. Huh?
Balti? Still training at this hour? How unexpectedly diligent of you.
Ah, Hilda! How are things? Anything of note to report?
No? I'm not sure what you mean.
Oh, I don't know. You haven't been approached by any lovelorn goons lately, have you?
Now that you mention it, it's been a few days since any guys have flirted with me.
Fantastic! They got the hint.
Whoa, wait a second. Are you pulling some weird prank on me?
Of course not. I'm just doing my best to keep my promise to Holst, that's all.
Oh, not this again. That was ages ago. I'm sure my brother's forgotten all about it.
Dead wrong, pal. I actually had the chance to see him recently, and he had a new request for me.
What? He told you to get rid of any guys who show interest in me so that I stay his innocent little sister forever?
That sounds more like Sedith than Holst, don't you think?
Fair point. What was the request?
Guys here have the gall to consider you a potential bride. It's my job to test them, see if they're worthy.
I don't like where this is going.
Since Holst isn't here to do the honors, I've spread the word that nobody is fit to marry you unless they can defeat the great king of grappling in a fight.
What? That's exactly the same as getting rid of them!
How so? It only eliminates the guys who are dumb enough to take up the challenge.
No one is that dumb. No one around here thinks they can beat the stupendous king of grappling or whatever.
That's why I leveled the playing field by allowing sneak attacks. Plenty have already tried their luck. One guy actually tried to strangle me in my sleep.
Wow, a sleep strangler. He sounds like husband material.
And that's why I've been training so much. Can't let you end up with some weakling after all.
This is madness! If you keep getting stronger, there won't be anyone who fits the bill.
True. You could spend your whole life searching and never find a match for Balthus the Great. The only people who stand a chance are Holst and me.
To prove that you're worthy of my hand in marriage, you're going to fight yourself?
I always knew I was my own worst enemy. One day I'll finally meet my equal in battle. Me.
So you're going to punch yourself out? Is that your idea of a romantic gesture?
When that fateful day arrives, Hilda, I want you to know that I intend to keep my word.
Huh. A girl could do worse, I suppose.
What's this? Well, if it isn't Cyril. How did he manage to fall asleep here?
Oh, this is pointless! My head's about to split in two!
Wow, Balthus, what's with you, friend? Never seen you so deep in thought. Next thing I know, snow will be dumping out of the sky here in Abyss.
Shut your trap! I'm driving myself crazy over here. Got a lot on my mind, okay?
Like?
Ah, fine. You know how I never got any stories out of you the other day?
How could I forget? I won every last round. It was clear that both Lady Luck and the goddess herself had given up on you. Your powers of deliberation weren't any help either.
You caught me off my stride, got it? But it was clear I'd never win a story from you, so I went digging.
Uh-huh.
I was especially curious about that crest of yours, so I went rifling around for a lead. I got to thinking.
You must have time on your hands if you're spending it thinking. Well, let's hear it.
There's a story they tell where my mom grew up. Long ago, the village got in a squabble with some folks looking to conquer the place. A village elder gave some holy red stuff to their wounded soldiers. Some kind of liquid, who knows? After she did that, some of them made a complete recovery, against all odds. The rest of them were changed, but not for the better. They up and vanished before long.
And then?
Crests suddenly manifested for the ones who survived. They weren't inherited or gifted by the goddess. It's a real thinker, yeah? A real thinker.
Near death but survived, despite all odds. Wait, the elder whom my mom saved. Could he have used something similar? No, it can't be. Yet, something here is unsettling in its familiarity.
Hit the mark, did I?
I don't know whether you hit the mark or missed it entirely, but your story was a cute one, regardless. The truth is, I've been trying to sort out who I am, and well, I haven't been successful in it. I don't even know whether my mother is truly my birth mother, or why it is I have this crest. At this point, I have nothing but speculations. Maybe I'll sink into my grave without ever knowing the truth.
Lots of things in life don't have an answer. Just pick the story you like best and run with it. That's better than finding out a truth you can't live with. You can really mess your head up like that.
Damn it, you're right. To think that something so trivial could bother someone like me.
Look who's a quick learner. Thinking too much will sap your energy, pal. I avoid it whenever possible. In fact, it's been ages since I last thought so deeply. My head is really hurting now. But if that legend is true, what was that holy red stuff? What happened to the vanished soldiers? Once I start thinking about all that, I keep going round and round in my head. And then it's dawn. And then it's nightfall. And then it's dawn again. And...
Hey, Balthus?
Let me at him! Oh. Not a fight then. That's what I get for overusing the old noggin.
You damn fool. Everyone, listen up. I have a proposal. We are now building our forces in order to rise up against the Imperial Army. But it wouldn't be smart for us to fight under the banner of the Alliance. That would only incite the lords who support the Empire. We've also combined forces with the Knights of Seros. Therefore, I suggest that we operate under a new symbol. That's why I've prepared this. You may recognize it as the Crest of Flames, which resides in Teach, the phantom crest that has reappeared after more than 1,000 years. We're attempting our own miracle, so it seems like a suitable symbol for us. So, until we welcome the dawn of a new age in Fodlan, let's fight to the very end as one under the symbol of the Crest of Flames.
Impressive, Claude. Forget restoring the monastery. You've somehow roped everyone into fighting back against the Empire.
If you recall, I never technically asked anyone to join us. If anything, we have Teach's achievements to thank. Now that you mention it, I guess I should express my gratitude. Hey, friend. So this is where you've been. Without you, the Knights never would have joined our cause. I can never pay you back for that. Just leave it to me, Teach. When this fight is over, I plan to see all of my dreams come to fruition. And yours as well. Well, for example, to bust open Fodlan's throat. There's a massive fortress there, which is responsible for protecting the eastern border of the Alliance. I like to think of it as a lid on a bottle. The people of Fodlan only know a small part of the world. Their prejudices are born because they don't know what lies beyond their borders. And the opposite is true too. Those outside of Fodlan don't know about this place. Ignorance breeds discrimination. Whether you look inside the bottle or outside of it, if you really look, all you'll find are people who you can get along with if you only try. That's why I want to bust open that lid, which is keeping us locked inside, or destroy the bottle entirely. I'll find the right time to bring it up. Even if I talked about it now, it doesn't seem realistic, does it? First, we need to defeat the Empire and restore peace to... Huh?
Professor, Claude, we're under attack.
I guess we'll have to cut our conversation short. What's going on, Leone?
It's a small group, but some Imperial troops are headed this way. It looks like they were stationed nearby.
I've got to hand it to Edelgard. Nothing gets past that woman. As long as we don't let our guard down, there's no way they can defeat us. This will be our first battle alongside the Knights of Seros. Let's kick off our new partnership with a magnificent victory.
Alright. So, if I sound a little bit different, I'm sorry. I held off for recording this part of the video, mainly because my allergies got so bad that I either couldn't breathe and all this other nonsense. It was bad. It was just bad. It's finally gotten better, like, after a week of me not doing much, but it's still not fantastic, and I realize that I can't continue putting off doing recordings on everything. So, this is like the new batch of recordings I've been doing. Alright, so this is the first time I've recorded something in a while, and I don't remember what all I've got. So, alright, Marianne's a drummery. Hilda's not anything in particular. She's a dancer, but if I actually leveled up the sword, she could be Immortal 7, actually. Oh, that and her reason needs to be higher too. It's, what, a D? No, a C. Oh, well, she's not too far away from that. That's reasonable to get to. She's a Falco Knight. Ferdinand. I have not used Linhardt. Oh gosh. You have the ability to be Immortal 7, but I'm having you Master Sword Master currently. Yuri's mastered that. Do I have an Abyss exam? I do, but it's not helpful currently. Less dex and speed for defense and 2 strength and 1 HP less movement, but does get sword flare and crit from that. That could be helpful. They get more speed overall, and he's already got a ton of speed. I'm gonna leave that for now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Yeah, he's 12% of the way of being that. Balthus, he's a war monk. Constance, she's finally able to do stuff. She can finally be this without a problem. I'm gonna let her have that.
I passed! As I knew I would, of course.
Uh-huh. And her battalion left. Happy, you are currently a warlock, which you just recently started. Oh yeah, I changed her outfit to where it fits her monastery outfit, which seemed fitting. Okay. Now, as far as battalion stuff, let's replenish what we got. Oh, we got support conversations that need to be had. Before I do that, and before I forget, hey, Constance, let's get you a better... yeah. It's her house, so there you go. That fits perfectly fine. Lawrence, you and Hilda.
Lawrence, look!
What is it, Hilda? Ah, a letter from your brother?
That's right. Though part of me thinks it's some stranger imitating my brother's handwriting. He's never given me this much praise. Hilda, you've learnt the value of persistence. You're really maturing, stuff like that. Usually his letters are like, I'm worried about you, and stop being so lazy.
Since I have fought by your side, I can assure you that his praise is genuine and entirely deserved.
I've written about fighting in plenty of letters. Why is he so gushy this time around?
I would venture to guess that your depictions of battle are more passionate than before. It's no surprise that such authenticity would resonate with a veteran warrior like your brother.
If that's true, I have you to thank. You've inspired me to throw myself into battle. Does everyone think I'm a tough warrior now? I don't want to be stuck with their high expectations.
Would that be so terrible? You are gifted, you know. Not to say that your lackadaisical nature has failed to endear itself to me.
I'll choose to take that as a compliment.
Speaking of letters, did you keep your promise? Did you, mention me?
I did. I told my brother all about you. I said you were a uniquely gifted leader who could inspire people to be their best selves. And I said that you'll be a real asset to the Alliance. I also told him how I wished you could join our family. He responded that he'd be honored to call you his brother.
Truly? Oh, to have such a valiant brother would be beyond my wildest expectations.
Lawrence? You know what I mean about you joining our family, right?
I believe I do. And I confess, if I am correct, that the same thought has preoccupied me as well. But you must forgive me. Now is not the time. Before we can consider our own future, we must first end this war. We must secure a peaceful world.
And if we do attain a peaceful world, then what? Come on! Just say it.
As much as I'd like to grant that request, I cannot. This is something that will deeply affect our lives. It must be said at the proper time and place, with the most artfully chosen words, and the perfect offering. I am Lawrence Hellman Gloucester, after all.
I'm not usually one for waiting around, but maybe I'll make an exception in his case.
I don't. I guess you could say they were made for each other, but I don't even know what you would say
That
about them.
reminds me, Ferdinand. I wonder if a certain rumor has already reached your ears.
I suspect I know what you are referring to. A certain noble who caused a stir at one of the local taverns, correct? For someone of status to make such a scene. What a disgrace.
I thought just the same. A noble ought to hold himself to a higher standard. It is hardly appropriate to drink and mingle with a tavern full of commoners.
Oh, that is not quite what I meant. I do not object to a noble patronizing their local establishments. In fact, I would say such excursions have value.
Is that so? I would be very curious to hear what value you mean exactly. But allow me first to venture a guess. Is it that you suppose it is proper for a noble to bolster a town's wealth with his patronage? If that is your thinking, then I would counter that whatever one adds to a merchant's coffers seldom makes it to the pockets of the townsfolk. I think that if a noble wishes to use his resources to ease the burdens of the commoners, he ought to go about town and spend it more directly.
That is wonderfully insightful, Lawrence. Albeit not what I had in mind. What I meant was this. We can benefit from crossing the threshold and learning more about regular folk. We scarcely understand the reality of their lives. In turn, they do not know about us. I have heard that some believe we have horns growing from our heads. It is an embarrassing and potentially perilous state of affairs.
You are quite right. In fact, that reminds me of something a boy once said to me when I visited a village on my family's territory. He actually asked me if I had a tail. Hilarious.
We all need a laugh now and then. As a man of status, I feel it is my calling to right the world's wrongs, but there is only so much I can do alone. Working in tandem, though, you and I could make tremendous accomplishments.
My sentiments exactly. Together we could achieve a great deal. Though the circumstances of birth may have placed one of us in the Empire and the other in the Alliance, we can still aim for a brighter future together.
Yes, precisely. Together, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. By the way, Lawrence, do you have a tail?
What? Oh my gosh. Two, you're ridiculous. Marianne, help.
Are you enjoying this lovely day, Dorte? Everyone seems to be in such good spirits.
Marianne, do you have a moment?
Oh, Ferdinand. What do you need?
I have been thinking about what you said.
I didn't mean to upset you. You should just ignore me and...
You misunderstand. It is not that you upset me. Honestly, you mystify me. You are a noble, and yet you do not wish to be one. Is that not so? I did not expect to hear that from the daughter of Margrave Edmund.
But I'm not actually his daughter. He's a distant relative. We share very little of the same blood.
But still, you come from a noble lineage, do you not?
Oh, no. I'm just a minor noble from the countryside.
Minor though it may be, you were born into a noble family, which means you are a noble too. We did not choose to become nobles. We were born into the nobility.
I understand, but that's why I said I don't care to be responsible. I had no say in the matter.
Marianne,
My parents and I have suffered because of this bloodline and crest. Even so, I am prepared to do what I must, as the daughter of a noble family. But to be told that's still not enough, I just...
I see. I will not pretend to understand, but you should try to calm down a bit. Certainly, things did not turn out the way you had hoped, but the conditions are such that...
The conditions? Those will never change. There's nothing to do but give up. Please just leave. Ignore me.
There will be no convincing you. Very well. I will go.
Oh, Goddess. Why did you curse me with such suffering?
We'll kind of get a little bit more into Marianne's story later.
Wow, I am thirsty. I could really go for something to drink.
Hilda, there you are.
Hey, Ferdinand. Thanks for your help earlier.
I do not desire your gratitude. I have a bone to pick with you. At the library, you pawned your job off on me.
Actually, I never asked you to do the whole thing. You started teaching me how and got carried away. Meanwhile, I was just awestruck by your cleverness and generosity.
Ah, well. Hey, wait a moment. Your charms won't work this time. You were just using me.
Oh, that hurts my feelings. I really was awestruck. If I had to arrange all the library supplies on my own, I'd have been there past nightfall.
With a steady pace, you would have finished by twilight at the latest.
Oh no, I'm not competent enough, honestly. I don't even know how to make a cup of tea.
You're quite a defeatist, Hilda. Hold a moment. Did you just say you cannot make tea?
That's right. I can't touch things that get hot. I'm always scared of getting burned.
Trust me, it is not difficult. You just need to be cautious as you are pouring. I can teach you.
Really? Great! Please teach me, Ferdinand.
This is a crucial skill for nobles, Hilda. If nothing else, you must learn the art of tea brewing. Look here. You bring the water to a boil, and you put the leaves in here. All right, that should be enough time steeping. Now we can drain the water, pour the tea, and enjoy.
That took longer than I expected. Well, thanks. Bottoms up.
You may have to steep it for more time or less, depending on the leaves. From now on, you can...
That really hit the spot. Thanks. I'm a slow learner, so I hope you'll teach me again sometime.
She fooled me again. That was the last time. I swear it.
Oh boy, he's gonna run for his money on that. Oh my.
Hey, shady lady. I see you're working into the wee hours.
I have asked you before not to refer to me that way.
Right, whatever, sorry. Anyway, what kind of bizarre spells are you weaving?
An excellent question. It's a brand of spellcraft many have dreamed of, but none have achieved. A revolution in magical theory.
Revolutionary spellwork, huh?
Steel yourself for this. The working transforms leather boots into licorice! The old serviceable shape with a new, sweeter taste.
Huh. That's certainly something. I'm sure you'll ravage the economy with this one. So, why boots precisely?
I was inspired by your suggestion that licking the nobility's boots would fulfill my dream. I went to my chambers to discreetly taste my own boots. They were less appetizing than I had hoped.
Wait,
the thought of licking boots day in and day out was revolting. But then I thought, what if? Tonguing licorice boots rather than leather ones would make the whole ordeal much more palatable. This is no run-of-the-mill penny ante black magic. This is something new. Black licorice magic. I could lick the boots of 100 nobles if they all tasted so scrumptious as licorice.
Are you some kind of damn fool?
Exactly.
The common mind often has difficulty distinguishing between genius and idiocy.
You set me the challenge of licking boots, and I would say that I have risen to it ably.
Correct. I told you to do that. But I think you took what I said just a bit too literally.
Then how did you mean it? Does the licking not count if the licker enjoys it?
It's mostly something you do by way of acting subservient. I'd even lick the mud from your boots, my lord. Get it?
What? Are there nobles so depraved that they would take satisfaction in such a thing?
There sure are. I've licked a boot or three in my day.
Indeed? Oh, did it not turn your stomach?
Well, of course it did. There's hardly any dignity in bootlicking. Talking to you is truly entertaining. You're a special kind of strange. I've known many a noble in my life, but none like you. I was just dealing with a bunch of them, so the difference seems especially stark. Though, I guess you're not technically a noble at this point, are you?
You were dealing with nobles in the dead of night? Wait, what? Did you just call me strange?
That's what stinks.
I'm exhausted. Better go hit the sack. Don't work too hard, milady.
I did not give you leave to go! Ugh, his rudeness knows no bounds. But I'll have my revenge. Perhaps by exposing his business with these nobles. He'll rue the day he loosened his tongue in front of me.
Like, why did she actually go bootlicking? Did she not know the meaning of being a bootlicker? Oh my goodness, Constance. Oh my gosh.
What's with all the ruckus, I wonder? Wait, isn't that Constance?
This has nothing to do with you, so keep your nose out of it.
Yeah, none of your business. Unless you're his girlfriend, that is.
You ascribe too much to me, sirs. I haven't the qualities that Balthus seeks in a partner.
So prissy. You Balthus's lady or not?
Softly, please, softly. Such accusations are slander upon his good name. I have no place in the heart of one so freewheeling and glad. Were there a list of suitable partners? I should deem myself to be at the tail end of it.
If you're not his gal, then step off. We're trying to spread some juicy Balthus gossip over here. You're nothing to him, so why ruin our fun?
Because what you say is unthinkable. If you attempt to spread lies that strain credulity so, it will be your own reputations that suffer. Your reputations or your bones, should Balthus ever learn of this deception. A hairline break may heal, but the powder he makes of a man's skeleton is another matter. And that's to say nothing of the jelly that will be left of your organs. Are you not concerned?
He'll do what? Oh, guess spreading lies is a bad idea. Good thing I'd never do such a thing.
Right. This is all a big misunderstanding. Thanks for the heads up.
We're just gonna back away now. Have a nice day.
I've saved lives today. They didn't deserve the fury that he would unleash. But then, few would. Is that not Balthus standing there?
Hey, why'd you say all that scary stuff about me? Don't tell people things like that. They're not the ones ruining my reputation. You are.
Oh, how short-sighted of me. I believed myself to be acting in your interest, but I see now that I was mistaken. I shall regret this indiscretion until my dying day.
Clearly, I need to take anything that falls out of your mouth with a grain of salt. Maybe the whole shaker. Still, you did stop those two from talking about me. Regardless of how you did it, I guess I should be grateful, so thanks.
This magnanimity is in keeping with the wondrous man I know you to be. So open, so accepting. You are a paragon for others to follow.
Jeez. Maybe it's better when she treats me poorly. Being praised like that is downright uncomfortable.
That is true. It is uncomfortable to hear that kind of stuff. I think anyone would feel that way. Good grief.
That support conversation was mostly just her talking to soldiers, not involving Balthus at all. What the heck, game? Oh my gosh. Fine. Let's just beat the tail off of these people. All right, well, let's just do this for the love.
Though plans to resist the Empire are still being devised by the Alliance Army, the Imperial Army has already anticipated their next move. An Imperial vanguard just outside Garrick Mach, led by General Randolph, begins to advance with the aim of toppling the monastery once again.
Why, thank you so much.
I am grateful.
I have gratitude.
Thanks so much.
I thank you.
Thank you so much.
But anyway, golly, I don't know. This fight is going to be pretty much the same as we've seen previously. It's this map. There's not a whole lot that's different. It's pretty much just the same. I think there's minor differences, but I don't really remember what those differences would have been anyway. Maybe like the units that are used, but that's pretty much it. As far as how we're going to deal with it, this is going to be pretty simple. I've actually been using Lauren's more, oddly enough. I don't think I want to use Raphael, though. I actually do want to bring Constance. What's she? Oh, Lysithia. Why is she not here? Alright. Who am I going to take out? Lawrence, sorry, you're gone. Lysithia's taking the wheel on doing all the damage. I was trying to level up Bernadetta because and Ferdinand. I know Ferdinand and Lysithia have a quest together, so you do want to make sure both of them are leveled up sufficiently. Bernadetta, I think she has a quest. I don't remember it though, if she does. I feel terrible not remembering some of this stuff, but again, it's been a while since I've done those, and also, there's just so much in this game that you either remember it or you don't, so I'm just kind of going along with it at this point. Yeah, put that up. Alright, Leonie, you put that up. Wait. Leonie, you also have not a very good... Let's just do that. Because Crescent Sickle's actually not a bad weapon. Hey, Constance is going to have more defense this time around. She has 10 defense. Oh my gosh. She has so little defense. Oh my gosh. Do not put her in front of anything that's going to physically attack her. Good grief. Marianne, I want you to be over here. Actually, let's have you switch with Constance. And the two flyers will kind of go through this area. I think that should be fine. Although, you do want to be careful about some of these bows. Because you'll have to deal with a lot of that. Alright. I could do that, but I'm also wanting to have enough to deal with the front area pretty well. I think we'll be fine. This is not a hard map, especially with the levels we're at.
The Knights of Seros are a powerful enemy, but we have more soldiers. We'll take them down all at once.
So, the enemy intends to use their overwhelming numbers to defeat us. Let's fight fire with actual fire.
Report. The enemy has entered the periphery of Garreg Mach.
If they reach the interior, the enemy will take the monastery. Drive them back immediately.
So I'm basically saying, hey, make sure they don't get around. Which is fine. 50! Good grief. Sorry, I just wasn't expecting that number. I know she's got 34 magic. It still just is ridiculous.
My allies are much worthier.
You gonna be okay? Oh gosh, woman. Oh, magic +2. Okay, so what? I think she had 34. Oh no. Anyway,
My orders?
we can just do this here and make sure that, well, we get rid of the front two runners on this, and then just retreat to a safe distance. And then have Byleth just say, you called? Alright, so there's not really anything Byleth needs to use other than just his sword. We'll just use Sothis' shield to kind of add a little bit of resistance. I don't think there's really... There's that guy and this guy. Other than that... Oh yeah, there's... Oh, I should have saved it for the two Banshee guys. The Banshee guys can be a problem, but I think we'll be there before Sothis' shield is up. Because... Well, let's just say we can make a joke out of all this. Yeah. Alright, we'll do this. I forgot to help you out there. My bad.
Let's make this quick.
Why not?
Her range is not sufficient. But Lysithia's is.
I've got no time for mercy.
Why would I do that? That seems dumb. Alright.
Shall we?
One of the few times I'll actually just have Hilda attack. Nah. Hilda's just ridiculous. As far as attacking enemies.
Don't get used to this.
It's insane. Alright,
Let's go.
Well,
I'm in.
Not really a good idea to do that, but I will do this. Lethality in the Crest of Flames, not really gonna be that useful. Move in front. Not that that's gonna really matter in terms of a sniper, but
At the ready.
really? Could do that. And I also could do this. And that would hit both of them. I'm more okay with doing that. And then dealing with whatever magic user nonsense that Mage is wanting to do.
Good fuel for a scheme.
And then move. Well, no. Oh, he's in a ballast. Okay. Yeah, just move you there. You're gonna go after Claude, it says, but that's not always correct. Even though it says they'll do things, they don't always do it. We'll have you just have the killer axe and sit right there. Just to make sure that you don't do anything. Not that you could, well, you could, out of the damage, that mage probably could have done the most, because she actually has a lot of defense.
Strange battle flag is... What, isn't our enemy the Church of Seros?
They didn't have enough soldiers with just the church, so they upped their numbers by joining with those filthy rogues. It doesn't matter what flag they fly. They're nothing more than a mob. We'll destroy them all.
Well, you didn't have that long of a who knows how long of a career in the military you had, but it was ended pretty quickly in this fight.
You're making me work. Sorry, but it's you or me.
Well, again,
no way I can lose here.
I guess, and that's the thing, I guess they expected some Church of Seros members to come up and they were gonna just wipe them out. I guess was my thought that they had. And they didn't really expect former students of the Academy to come back, gather together, and then just own all of them. That's my guess of what they had. They were thinking as they were coming up here, but you know, it just, well, that's what happens when you assume.
This could turn the tides.
I gave Bernadetta the experience gem. That way she gets more levels.
I'll use this power for the greater good.
Also, good grief with that charm. Byleth has 40 charm.
Maybe this'll help me keep steady. I'd never have learned this back in my room.
You know, you're right. You got experience. Yay! Sorry for sounding condescending, but... she's a recluse.
Allied soldiers are making preparations for the plan. Protect them.
And that's the thing, I would say if your characters were, like, barely level 30, or if you're playing this normally, your characters would probably be about the same level as these guys, so doing this is not the most feasible thing. I'd have to look back and see what my first time doing this mission was like. But I think I was doing something very similar to this, where I was just like, you know what, oh, I can take them, that ain't no problem. I don't remember if that was the case or not.
Relax. You're dead.
Very good.
Oh, meant to hit the guy on the ballista, or the ballista, or whatever you call them things.
I will not die yet.
I think my brain's working half as well as it should, just because the allergies being a thing. Golly.
I must keep
I don't know. This allergy season has been horrendous for me. And most people I talk to is like, yeah, it's been pretty bad for me too. It's just like, God, I don't know. This year's been pretty bad for allergies.
What did you expect?
And the big, I would say probably the big problem with it is, it doesn't matter if like one rain happens. It needs to rain for like a straight week, and then maybe I'd be okay. But you know, it's whatever, I guess.
I fight for Lady Rhea.
I just feel bad that I have to take like mounds of allergy medicine just to be in a sense of normal. Because you pretty much get drugged up on all this allergy medication just because you don't have anything else.
Yep.
Oh, she's got 40 charm too. Good grief. A total of 45. I think that's because of her, yeah, the Kingdom Knights. Okay. $71 avoid. Good grief. But there's a reason for that. Alright. Constance, I'm gonna have you deal with this dude.
I assume a stray arrow finished it.
I'm getting concerned about that. Okay, it's not gonna kill her, but this is gonna do a ton of damage.
Sassy. Step aside.
Not a fan of that.
Really wanted to die, huh?
Got a Brave Lance. That's great, but I'm concerned about that. Alright.
Better accept it. Give the goddess my regards, yeah?
Oh, the two Banshee dudes came in. Alright. I think we'll be fine. And that's the thing. I've had that guy get to the area where he sets everything on fire, like, after I've gone through it and almost killed the boss.
Thanks.
So, I don't know. It could be that I just played through it too quickly, in a sense of it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Alright, who's next?
I'm not gonna have you get hit by 3 different enemies. I'm just not. Alright. I'm glad Constance does get rescue. That's extremely helpful.
Is that wise?
Alright. Claude's not doing fantastic, but he's not doing horribly right now. I guess what I could do is this. I could just annihilate this dude.
I've got no time for mercy.
Amazing.
She could do it herself, but I'm gonna have her dance.
Apologies.
And then I'm gonna have Lysithea take care of another enemy. Because Lysithea is ridiculous. Alright, well, that works. See, that's the thing. Yeah, just go ahead and do that.
Don't expect any sympathy.
And then move to this side. Really? Really nothing?
Pull out all the stops.
Well, make this easy.
We're all desperate, aren't we?
Gosh, Claude, I will say this. Claude's Act 2 Gambit is insane. It is so overpowered. It's a ranged version. It's an arrow ranged version of Resonance Flame. And it's just so powerful. Really? You couldn't crit? That's a shame. They're all going that one side where Petra is. And then 2 more of them show up.
Sunshine.
At some point, I'll use Fimbulvinter, and it'll actually be good.
I am not qualified to command anyone.
Oh, shush.
Make a difference?
I will say this, though. I don't know if it ever was put in the recording part of it, but Leonie's stats have gotten really good in speed and dex. Her strength's gotten really good, too. So, even if she stays as a Pegasus Knight, she's still really good. And Falco Knight's probably one of the better classes in the Master Class to have someone as. Just because of the stat gains you get. So. Alright, Happy. Oh my goodness. Happy has like no movement. I feel so bad. And this is the thing. I'll use Hilda to get other people moving forward when she could just destroy everything herself. But I'm trying to be really good about making sure I can
That helps.
help everybody, as it were. Okay, well, for crying out loud, she's got this. 72 chance of crit. And she still just didn't. But you know what?
Each battle a victory.
I'm not going to complain. She's got the strength. She's got strength, might, and she can hurt. She can hurt some people. All right. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right. Rapier on the sniper dude or dudette. That's a dudette.
I fought and won.
A magic bow. Alright. Let's do this.
I'll handle this.
And that's a falcon, right?
I've gotten stronger. A predictable success.
Oddly enough, a lot of them want to go after Claude. Well, not oddly. I shouldn't say that. Predictably, I guess is a better way to say that. Oh my gosh, 4. No. Just, no, I'm not. That is not... Okay.
Once I've decided you're done,
I need to make sure I keep that, because
just stay alive.
remaking it from broken's actually way worse than just repairing it. Battalion endurance. That's not too bad to worry about. Well, that's a problem and a half. I might have to. Okay. I was gonna say, I might run into some problems here. Thankfully, I didn't.
No use. You are in my way.
Yeah, you don't want to be in her way. She's gonna, you know, she gets quite upset when she's threatened because, you know, as she has said herself, she's kind of a prisoner of the Empire and she doesn't really care. If you're gonna be rude, she's gonna cut you really badly. Okay, so now everyone's well, not everyone, most everyone. Ow! Jeez, that tomahawk. Ugh. Oh. Yeah, that's where I got worried. Yeah, I should have been a little bit better about that. Alright. Not that far back. Jeez. Back here. So.
I'm in.
I'm going to use the killer bow on this guy. Or this gal.
Really wanted to die, huh?
Get her magic bow, move backwards. Then we're going to have the killer axe. Take out that.
For Lady Rhea.
We're fighting for Lady Rhea. Alright.
At the ready.
And then this guy gets rapiered. Get attacked by a rapier. Gets attacked by a rapier. Oh my gosh. Words.
You're really going for it.
Let's make this quick.
And I think I'm just going to be one of those people. I thought I... There we go. Almost destroying you. Healing herself up to full and then getting half damage again. Nice try.
My heart burns with pride.
You've got the tomahawk, so you're gonna be a distance.
No use.
Well, that's just rude. He's Master Wyvern Rider, though.
I really get it now.
Oh, right. And that is not cool.
Too easy.
But you missed. Nice.
What's my strategy?
I'll do my best.
Yeah, healing him is going to be important.
That helps.
Why not?
Have some death.
Same old, same old.
Man,
Shall we?
Happy's just... It's just one of those things. It's like, oh man, Happy, you're so depressing. Oh. All right. Well, I could do white in the Resonance White magic. That would actually be pretty helpful. Let's do... Well, I can only do it when people's health are low. So... You know what? Actually, just do an absorption. I don't know how well this will work, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Okay, it actually did hit. That's good. But it also hits everyone else. So yeah, absorption can be really good and give Yuri a full heal. But you have to hit them with that initial attack. Which could be the litmus test of whether or not it's going to be a good gambit, is that hit.
This is for the best, right?
Alright.
I will prevail. Fire meets water.
I will say
in justice's name.
Aside from the interesting critical saying, whenever you use a crit and it's lethality, I don't understand what... I get it, but also it's weird that it's like, okay, you did their max HP. You didn't do anything more than that. And I don't know why it even bothers displaying the health damage you do, because you did cause a lethality, which is... I don't know. I know I'm getting into the weeds about it. It's just really... I don't know. It's just it's a nitpick at this point. It doesn't need to be, but it is.
My joke of a life drags on.
forget. Transmute's the one where you get hit with magic attack. Okay. And this grants her +6 magic. So she's technically having 39 magic power when she initiates. Yeah. That's a thing. Alright, so with you... Oh, it doesn't matter. Except for 1 hit difference. Oh my goodness. And like 30s, yeah, well 25 crit. Well, actually it's more than that, but...
How about a curtsy?
And that's also why I gave her the Crest of Flames, because for some reason she doesn't always crit. She rarely does at times. But she's been critting a lot on this LP. When I was doing my own personal run with her, it just... She hardly ever critted. It was ridiculous. And the Crest of Flames really helped her out. Because she was able to do a double hit.
Presence is clearly not necessary.
We'll support you. In this situation...
Was that necessary? Not really. But it makes sure that I can pretty much just pick these guys off.
Sorry, but I must.
Just the 2 of them.
A total loss. We can't just return home like this.
Teach, look out! They're after your head!
For my house, for justice, I will not be defeated!
And he makes it there.
We're prepared for the fire attack. Now we just need to draw the enemy's attention. You can't defeat us with that many soldiers? The Imperial Army is doomed without a capable general.
Quiet! Don't think you'll get away with mocking me. Attack! Make sure they never speak again!
Now!
Is it really?
A fire attack. The damage is too great. We can't fight anymore. All units retreat. I'll take on our pursuers. Carry away the injured soldiers.
If we let them escape, they'll come back to attack later. We have to take them out.
Awkward cutscene. Because the majority of what happened already did. Which was us taking out these enemies.
I'm getting used to this.
I don't think there's anything special if anyone from the Empire attacks Randolph. I think the only person that would have anything is Caspar, but from what I've noticed, it's just an awkward kind of introductory conversation between the two of them, where Caspar's like, almost when he's Randolph's like, wait, do I know you? It's just, that's pretty much all it is. Because,
Alright, who's next?
I don't know what the relation between Randolph and Caspar is, to be completely honest. Yeah, let's have you do a heal.
Sorry.
Good grief. Alright, I ain't having that. Dance for Mary. Dance for her again, because good grief, I need to have that last little bit to have that mastered, because good grief. I ain't leaving it at that.
Thanks.
There we go.
Everything I've done has led to this.
Let's see if Fimbulventure actually hits.
Fate turns against you.
Yeah, it hits.
Mother, please. I'm so...
Fleesh? I have no idea what that is. I guess you would learn more if you actually did the Black Eagle path.
I have grown marginally stronger.
You know
Those
what?
Imperial troops are really something. Looks
Get a
like they'll
self-help
face a
book,
lot of
girl.
resistance.
Come on. You need some help. If you... Congrats, Yuri. Gee whiz.
My thank you so much.
Phew, nice work. We won without much incident, thanks to all of you.
Now the enemy knows we're on the move. What do you plan to do?
I intend to ask the Alliance Lords to share some troops with us to bolster our forces.
I will speak plainly. No matter whom we beseech for reinforcements, our envoys will inevitably pass through Gloucester territory. My father is being cautious not to give the Empire a pretext to intervene. Therefore, he is unlikely to allow even envoys to pass through.
I guess I haven't told you yet, Teach. The kingdom isn't in a position to be sending anyone reinforcements. After losing King Lambert during the tragedy of Dusker, a regent had been handling its politics. But then, there was a bloody coup. The regent and Prince Dimitri both. Apparently the whole family was killed. All bladed territory, including the kingdom capital, is being ruled by those who are cooperating with the Empire. The kingdom is no more. It's now called the Fargus Dukedom. The vast majority of the former kingdom lords bent a knee to the overwhelming power of the Empire and the Dukedom, and now fall under their jurisdiction. Some who formerly held power are continuing to resist, but it would be difficult for them to regain it.
Oh, hey, I can think of one person who we can ask for reinforcements. Someone whose territory is really close and who's on good terms with Claude.
Ah, the hero of Daphne, I presume. I've seen her before, and she does seem to be reliable.
You're talking about Judith, right? I bet she would lend us a hand.
That's right, you've met her once before, Teach. She's a fearsome one-woman army. She did a lot for me, even before I was recognized as the heir to House Regan. I don't like the idea of owing her more than I already do, but given the current situation, sacrifices must be made. I'll reach out to her. As for the rest of you, prepare for our next battle. Hey, Teach. How are you feeling? Does anything feel strange at all? Well, you were asleep for 5 whole years after all. It'll probably take time to get you back to top form. Though I'm relieved to see you haven't lost a step as far as combat goes. Your command bringing my schemes to life. That's just how we fight best. Not yet, but there's no need to worry. That woman adores me. Once we've bolstered our forces, it'll finally be time to start taking decisive action. But I wonder, do you really think Rhea is still alive? I think so too. It's hard to imagine the death of someone as important as her staying a secret. I wonder where she is and what she's doing. All I know is that I still have a lot of questions I need to ask her. About the true history of Crest Stones and Heroes' Relics, and the truth behind the legend of Seros and Nemesis. She has secrets. Too many of them for my comfort. Considering the state of the world, it's suspicious. You must be curious about what was done to you and what her plans were for you, right? And you never did learn about your mother, did you? None of our doubts will ever be cleared unless we hear these answers from Rhea herself. In that sense, I absolutely hope Rhea is still alive. But as far as Fodlan goes, I do wonder what a world without Rhea would look like. The majority of people in Fodlan believe in the Seros faith that Rhea preaches. That's why they accept the noble system as if it were the only option, and refuse to associate with those who believe in anything else. That closed-minded philosophy is the reason why Fodlan's throat is locked tight. But if you remove the Archbishop who strictly advocates that doctrine, that worldview is no longer an absolute. There's room for free thought. The leadership of the Church would undoubtedly fall to you, and you would hold the power to change the shape of the faith, of the world. Then, for the first time, people would truly be free to think for themselves, to decide what's right and what's wrong. Honestly, I believe Edelgard is probably hoping to achieve something very similar. But her methods require too much bloodshed. That's not something the world can get behind. Anyway, the best thing we can do is find Rhea and hear what she has to say. Oops. I guess I've been going on for a while now. Sorry about that. You should get some rest.
Alright. That's chapter 14. 13 started 1:43. Yeah, that was 7 hours. Golly. I don't know how long this chapter video is going to be, but that's going to be a thing. I know I have at least enough recording for... It's going to be a short Golden Sun video. Not like 5 minutes short, but it's going to be about the same length, if not it's probably going to be a little bit shorter than the one that came out, well, today's. This is going out tomorrow. If I can get everything recorded and edited. Well, get this edited in time, which there's no telling. Oh, me. I don't know. I know exactly how much I'm going to have time to do as far as recording it, but we'll see. Anyway, that's something else for me to just ponder and try to figure out. But next time, we will take on chapter 15. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Vas por